What makes a legend? Is it talent? Is it hard work? Or is it something else? For many of us, joining the greats of football is just that, a dream. But for the very few who possess the insane amount of natural talent required to make it to the very top, only a handful have changed the way the game is played. Between the Dutch's total football, Germany's Gegenpress, and Italy's defend at all cost attitude, no one quite captures what it means to have fun like the Brazilians. When I mention the three key attributes that define Brazilian flair, playmaking, showboating, and partying, who comes to mind? Chances are you're thinking of either the great Ronaldinho or his junior Neymar. Taking a step back and looking across both of their careers, it's easy to see a lot of similarities. Called the next Pelé within months of their professional debuts, setting Europe alight with skills never seen before, and becoming the beacon of hope for the Brazilian national team, it's hard to say which one was better. Or is it? Thankfully for us, the two squared off against each other on the polar opposites of their respective careers. Whilst Ronaldinho entered his twilight years after spells with PSG, Barcelona and AC Milan, Neymar had just taken centre stage back home in Brazil by mid-2011. The game between Santos and Flamengo was highly anticipated, as many thought it would define the next 10 plus years of Brazilian football. And to say it delivered would be a gross understatement. 9 goals, Puskas Awards, flying acrobatics, insane skills, and an unlikely comeback. This is the story of old versus new. Overlooked champion versus criticised wonder kid. Ronaldinho versus Neymar. The greatest game in Brazilian football history. In March of 1980, in the city of Porto Alegre, the next superstar of Brazilian football was born. Ronaldo de Assis Moreira grew up in a family obsessed with anything that involved a football, whereby his dad was an ex-professional and his older brother was a part of the city's largest team's youth academy. As he traversed his youth, futsal and beach football became Moreira's specialty, being able to dominate any game he was a part of despite his smaller frame. This is in fact where he first adopted the nickname everyone in the world would later come to know him best as, Ronaldinho. Quickly rising through the ranks of Porto Alegre's youth football system, he soon found himself at Grêmio's youth academy, the same club his older brother played for, but not before scoring all of his team's goals in a 23-0 victory in a local competition, giving a young Ronaldinho his first taste of fame. In 1997, he was invited to the Under-17s World Cup in Egypt to play for his national team, who would go on to win the competition, spreading his name across the international stage. Soon after, in 1998, he made his professional debut for Grêmio in the Copa Libertadores, before going on to dominate Brazilian football the following year, scoring 22 goals in 47 games whilst emerging as Brazil's next top talent thanks to his unique tricks, technical skills and dead ball specialty. Ronaldinho would go on to play for 3 successful years at the club, before signing with PSG ahead of the 2001-2002 season. Initially struggling to find game time whilst he adapted his style of football to the European game, the start of 2002 saw the introduction of the Ronaldinho everyone is familiar with today, managing to rack up goals and assists while playing football in a way France had never seen before. Thanks to his great run of form leading into the 2002 World Cup, Ronaldinho got selected by the Brazilian national team, creating the unformidable attack of Ronaldo, Rivaldo and Ronaldinho. That same tournament, Brazil would go on to lift the trophy, shooting Ronaldinho into international stardom. This form would continue going into the 2002-2003 season with PSG. Despite his outstanding performances, including scoring goal of the season against Didier Drogba's Guingamp, Ronaldinho and PSG found themselves in 11th by the end of the campaign. A lack of trophies and European football in conjunction with a falling out with club manager Luis Fernandes due to the Brazilians' late-night antics and extended holidays, Ronaldinho declared he wanted to leave the club. Soon after, Barcelona outbid Manchester United for a fee of €30 million to bring a 23-year-old Ronaldinho to the Nou Camp. Over the next 5 years, this formidable partnership brought football into a new wave of flair and personality, where every kid around the world would practice juggling and elasticos in the hopes of becoming the next Ronaldinho. In the process, he managed to secure Barcelona the prestigious treble of La Liga, the Spanish Super Cup, and the Champions League, ahead of being awarded the 2005 Ballon d'Or. I can't really put into words just how good Ronaldinho was at Barcelona. I don't think anyone can. So if you have the time, alongside the highlights I'm showing you now, go watch some of his games from the mid-2000s if you want to fall in love with football all over again. Unfortunately though, his last season with the club in 2007-2008 was plagued with injuries and his work ethic began to drop, with many claiming that he was already past his prime. In a mutual agreement, both Ronaldinho and Barcelona thought it was best for him to leave the club in order to revive his career, turning down Manchester again, except this time City, for AC Milan at a cost of €22 million. The 28-year-old Ronaldinho's lack of dedication and party-led lifestyle saw a disappointing first season at the club. The following season, however, saw Ronaldinho rediscover his form when new coach Leonardo moved him from cam to left mid. Here he quickly became arguably AC Milan's player of the year, finishing the season as the Serie A's assist leader and reminded everyone that the Ronaldinho of old was still within him. In the summer of 2011, Milan brought in Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Robinho to bolster their attack, helping Ronaldinho to continue his form heading into the halfway point of the season. To the surprise of everyone, rumours started speculating about a possible move back to Brazil for the 2005 Ballon d'Or winner. Midway through January of 2011, Ronaldinho was unveiled as a Flamengo player after a transfer saga that saw numerous teams including LA Galaxy, Blackburn Rovers and childhood club Grêmio fight for his signature. Over the next 6 months, Ronaldinho led the Brazilian Giants to 2 trophies, the Taça Guanabara and the Taça Rio, and a promising title charge. Heading into their final game of July, Flamengo travelled to Vila Belmiro to play against Santos, who just so happened to have the next Ronaldinho. Born in Sao Paulo in 1992, Neymar da Silva Santos Jr. grew up with a strong obsession towards futsal and street football. His father, a former professional footballer and soon-to-be advisor for his son, moved the family to São Vicente in 2003 due to the promising talent of his son Neymar Jr. Here he began playing for youth side Portuguesa Santista before later that year joining the prestigious Santos Youth Academy, famous for its past players including Coutinho, Robinho and Pelé. Not long after, Neymar travelled to Spain for a tryout with Real Madrid, but rejected the offer afterwards because his father felt as though developing his football skills in Brazil was the best option. In 2009, at the age of just 17, Neymar made his senior debut for Santos in a 2-1 win over Oeste as a substitute in the last 30 minutes of the game. After slowly getting more playing time as the season progressed, by the end of his first year, he managed to secure 14 goals in 48 games. 2010, however, saw Neymar progress faster than anyone could have thought. By leading Santos to the Campeonato Paulista and the Copa do Brasil titles, whilst ending the season of 42 goals in 60 games, Neymar attracted Premier League sides Chelsea and West Ham, who offered £20 million and £12 million respectively for the Brazilian, before being named the 3rd best South American footballer of the year. With all of his media attention, 2 main flaws of his game were highlighted, that being his poor attitude, which reflected his selfishness, and his taste for diving instead of playing on. Despite this, Neymar would lead Santos to the 2011 Copa Libertadores final before opening the scoring in the second fixture, of which he was awarded man of the match, as Santos won the title for the first time in 48 years, with the last coming when Pelé was at the club. Shifting their attention back to the league by its halfway point, Neymar and Santos found themselves in the bottom half of the table, falling far short of expectations. But coming off their recent form and as reigning Copa Libertadores champions, Santos won 2 of their next 3 games before hosting title contenders Flamengo, a match that would later go on to be described by many as the greatest game in Brazilian football history. On a cold Wednesday night in the bustling city of Sao Paulo, a game the Brazilian media has been hyping up for months is only moments away from kickoff. As our 2 main characters finally meet head-to-head for the very first time, the whole of Brazil find themselves on the edge of their seats. 4 minutes into the game, Santos starts strong when the ball is chipped through into the striker, who slots at bottom right corner to give Santos the lead, which is then followed up by the longest goal I've ever heard.
Linda bola pro Borges, a chance! Gol do Santos!
In retaliation, Flamengo put up 2 goal-scoring threats that come to nothing, the second of which including Ronaldinho beating his man just outside the box before putting his shot inches wide of the post. At the 15-minute mark, Neymar intercepts a poor pass from the Flamengo left-back to start a counter-attack. Playing a 1-2 that puts him through in on goal, Neymar does something different.
Bolão pro Neymar, tocou por cobertura, voltou pro Neymar, Felipe defendeu, agora o Borges!
After his shot is saved, Neymar manages to cross the ball with an on-the-floor bicycle kick to put Santos up 2-0, despite claims of offside. Flamengo follows up with whatever you want to call this.
Bateu cruzado, David, errou!
I don't even know how you managed to pull this off, which is ironically enough followed up by this.
Neymar. Facilidade do Neymar. Vai levitando o jogador do Santos. Aí o Neymar protegeu, fez o drible. Que lance do Neymar! Que golaço!
Neymar randomly decides to score one of the greatest goals of the 2010s and of his career, earning him both the shock of the Flamengo players and the 2011 Puskas. Quickly, however, the momentum changes hands when Flamengo scored two quick goals in succession. The first by Ronaldinho after some poor defending giving him an open goal, and the second being a header by the Flamengo striker.
Fez o cruzamento, Thiago Neves!
This remarkable run of form almost sees a third goal for Flamengo minutes later. Unfortunately for the striker, he was just offside, keeping the score 3-2. In the 40th minute, Neymar from halfway makes a run into the box after skipping past his defenders, the latter of which making contact with him, bringing him down for a penalty. Whether it was a foul in the box or even a foul at all, I'll leave it up to you. Regardless, Santos' captain Elano steps up for the penalty.
Direito, Felipe! O Elano tentou a cavadinha. E o Felipe...
After a failed Panenka attempt and the mocking of it by the keeper doing keepy-uppies, Flamengo hold possession, push forward and get themselves a corner just before half-time, leading to this remarkable moment.
Fez o levantamento, desvio!
As the half draws to a close, the fans have already witnessed the goal of the year, a bicycle kick assist, a failed Panenka, and a 3-goal comeback, totaling 6 goals within 45 minutes. There's no way the second half could match that, right? Well, almost immediately, Santos win a free kick 25 yards out, with the resulting shot just barely going out for a corner. Santos on the attack manages to get past Flamengo's midfield and plays the ball through to Neymar, who does this. Shrugging off his man and chipping the keeper to reinstate Santos' lead by the 50th minute. Deeper into the game, Ronaldinho showcases what made him once the best footballer in the world. Toying with his defenders, he gets brought down for a close-range free kick. Setting up for it, Ronaldinho comes up with a plan that only a few of his teammates could ever guess. 20 meters out, Ronaldinho does the unthinkable. He puts it underneath the wall, with the unsuspecting keeper only being able to watch it go past him. 4-all with 20 minutes to go. In the 80th minute, Flamengo are through with a 3-on-2 advantage. The ball drifts out to Ronaldinho, who cuts in and places the ball exactly where the first goal of the game did. For the first time this game, Flamengo lead despite scoring 5 goals, with Ronaldinho completing his hat-trick. Despite constant pressure from Santos, Flamengo hold on until the final whistle, calling the curtain on more than just an exciting league game. After this game, Flamengo would continue their strong run of form, just missing out on the title come season's end, and Santos would continue to struggle, eventually finishing in a disappointing 10th. For our two main protagonists, however, things proved to be very different. As Neymar continued to blossom into arguably the third greatest footballer of his generation, with his short stint at Barcelona and relatively underwhelming tenure at PSG, Ronaldinho fell out with Flamengo in 2012, before signing with Atletico Mineiro, Querétaro in Mexico, and Fluminense across 3 years before retiring in 2015, never being able to recapture the form that found him to be the greatest footballer in the world. Whilst one now makes millions a month playing in Saudi Arabia, the other has just come out of prison, setting on putting his life back together. No matter your preference between the two, it's a fact that both Neymar and Ronaldinho transformed the beautiful game into something fun. In a time where tactics reign supreme and individual brilliance is overshadowed, few players remind us of why we fell in love with football in the first place. But on that hot summer night back in 2011 for 90 minutes, we saw something that will never happen again. The two most technically skilled footballers we've ever seen head-to-head at the near peak of their careers, giving us the greatest game of football the world has ever seen.